Hello, this is Miranda Johnson, and I am giving a presentation for 6334 for Dr. Fick. The curation tool that I am using today is Symbaloo. Through my time in this class, I've really gotten a chance to really experiment with it, and I can see lots of great uses for it. Essentially, the site allows you to curate a wide array of websites, videos, interactive sites, basically anything all in one place. So it's like a one-stop shop, which is kind of really cool. I could see myself using this in the library, maybe two different, they're called web mixes, but a web mix is basically this board. So basically, this is a board, this is a board, this is a board. So a different board per grade, or even possibly a different board per grade and content. So 7th grade math, 7th grade social studies, etc. But let's really get into how you use a Symbaloo. So when you open it up, you will log in with your Google account or your Microsoft Word. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's quite simple to get in. When you open up, it's going to have several little tabs up here. They're called web mixes. You can delete them. You can keep them. When I started this, I just simply added one. So what you're going to do is you're going to click Add New Web Mix. And then right here, you're going to name it. So let's say I'm an ELA teacher. I want to give my students lots of books to choose from. I would name it Book Choice Board. I'm going to add it. And then a blank grid is going to pop up. The Google box automatically pops up. I can get rid of it by right-clicking it, deleting it automatically. Anyway, I have a blank grid now. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on any tile, and a box is going to pop up that says Add. So I can use a website I already have, or I could add a tile that they already have, and I could click it, and it automatically goes in if I want to use one of theirs. Same thing. I click it, automatically goes in. It's quite simple. Let's say I have a website I want to add. Okay, I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna paste in that website. Measuring penny. I'm gonna click it. Same thing. It's gonna pop up right there. Next, what I can do is I can right-click it, edit it, and this is when I get to make it more my own. Let's say I want to do all the fiction books green. I can make green. I want to make all my nonfiction books red. I can click it and do it however I want. Maybe I just want a rainbow. That is totally fine. It's completely up to you. On my project, each content was a different color. So science was red, math was blue, ELA was green, social studies was yellow. Completely my choice to do it. So moving back. It's not just color though. You can change the size. You can make it bigger if it's more important. You can decide, oh, it's just too big, make it smaller again. Next, you can click icon. On the icon, you can decide to change it to whatever you want. On my curation project, I changed interactive things to more like games, videos to a video thing. I really just try to make the image connect to what I was doing. So, I would want to make sure that if I need to make sure that if I change the icon, it connects. So measuring penny, I know is an ebook, so I can either click the tile or I can change it to a book. Let's type a book. Perfect. And you'll notice the icon change. One thing interesting, though, is that you can make it bigger. As you make it bigger, the picture comes back, but the icon gets smaller. So another thing you can do is you can go back to the size. You can go back to details. And if it pops up like this, where it just doesn't have a title right here, all you have to do is show title, name and title. You can rename it whatever you want. So I could put picture book or literally whatever I want. So as a whole, pretty cool. But let's say I have filled up all of these squares and I need more, or I want all of my pictures to be super big, and I've just filled up all of these squares and I realize, oh my goodness, I need more space. So this is what I can do. I can go to add new tiles. Rewind, sorry. Oh, there it goes. Edit. I can play with these, and I can change the web mix size, and that's where I can add all the extra tiles, so I can get as many tiles as I need, however I want to do it. Completely dealer's choice. Maybe I have more for an older grade, less for a younger grade. Another thing you can do is you can do it where you change the background. This is a really heavy background. I want a custom background. I want something very soothing, very simple. On my space one, I put a space background. So it's completely up to you. And then last but not least, you want to make sure you share it. So you go up to here, share. It'll give you a link, and you can submit it however you want. Google Classroom. So as a whole, pretty cool. Definitely recommend. Whenever I spoke to the teacher we were collaborating with, we decided that we wanted to work together so that way our students who at the current school I'm at, in this past year, in the last couple of years, they've had more of a web-driven schooling. So students work at their own pace, so it hasn't been a traditional model. But moving into summer school and next year, students will be working more in a traditional model where a teacher's lecturing, they're taking notes, etc. So we really wanted students to have the opportunity to see how all of these different classes could work together. So we came up with space because it's the topic that most students like. The teacher I worked with was a 6th grade teacher. So, and their main content was space, but also we pulled in a math teacher, and we pulled in a social studies teacher, and we pulled in an ELA teacher, and this is what we came up with. So when we were talking, we decided that we wanted lots of different activities, which leads to our board we pulled up. And I actually do not have it up, but if you give me 1 second, I will pull it up. Right here. Perfect. So when we got together, we really talked. We came up with a general outline. So we all got together. We listed it first by subject. Then we did what topic each subject, the resources we would use, the activity or activities, and then last but not least, the TEK that was aligned. As you can see, we did it for each math topic, resources, activities, different TEKs, language arts, social studies. So this is essentially what we did to, as we were collaborating. And then at the bottom was just additional ones that we talked about, the possibility. We talked about our diverse populations, how our EBs, our language learners, we're going to need extra time, hands-on learning, translation, sentence stems, models, peer communication, word bank, all of those things. Our G2 students would need to have a way to make it more exciting and more complex without actually adding more work. And then lastly, our 504, extra time, repeated review, model instruction, use of computers to type, oral admin. And as we went further, we actually even, with our reading, we broke it up to students who did not meet the STAR test. So not yet. We had approaching. We had our reading. We had not yet, approaching me to masters. And that was one more thing we talked about. Anyway, once we determine what we wanted, so they determined what activities they wanted, or even just what resources we wanted, I then went out of my comfort zone, and I really just started experiencing. So for instance, in science, we wanted to talk about the planets, the moons, and other objects in the universe, which correlates to students are expected to describe the physical properties, locations, and movements of the sun, planets, moons, meteors, asteroids, and comets. So all-encompassing, which is when I went into my knowledge and I started thinking. So I came up with interactive questions where students can click on it, and here they can do games. They can click on all these different questions, videos, very, very interactive. Kind of learn at your own pace. And then we have videos, and they could play it. I could even add questions in to stop. So as you can see, just lots of different resources. So then we got back together and we discussed how we felt about them. As a whole, we really liked them. One thing we noticed, though, is that we had talked about getting the students translation. So we added not only a Spanish to English dictionary, which is really cool because they can type in whatever they need here and it will bring it into Spanish. Go from Spanish to English. But we also have the opposite, English to Spanish. So if they need to paste something in to translate to Spanish, they totally can. Taking a second to load. But yeah, pretty cool. So, but as a whole, we were really aligned. We really liked it. They liked the fact that we went ahead and put resources in here we are going to use, such as Storybird for ELA, the fact that we had a interactive timeline where it was a new source we were going to have students use. So really cool. And then last but not least, I also made sure that we had a digital resource of the book list and just a total Symbaloo resource list. So let's start with the Symbaloo resource list. So it's all the blues are in math, all the yellow social studies, green ELA, science red, and if you noticed, that matches this. Oops. Red science, blue math, etc. So that was cool. So it listed the type of activity, and then the direct website. So if they just wanted to see an overview of what it was, that would help them too. As always, they can always enter crisscross if a math teacher wanted social studies or science, they totally could. So that should help. Next, we also had just a book list of both ebooks, audiobooks, and physical books. Here you can see the fact that I have the title, the author, the 10-digit, and the 13-digit. Next, readability. This one should be colored green. And let me tell you about that. So all of the green are mainstream students or approaching or meet students that are right in the middle on level. Next, we have the lower level or below level. So these would be a lot of our EBs, our 504 students, our RTI students, or not yet on STAR. And then last, we have the above or advanced students, so like mastery students, GT students, where they are still getting the same content. They are just pushing themselves with what they can know. So as you can see, every single book is leveled. So then we have the content aligned. We have the genre as specific as possible. We have the different formats, video book, physical. There's a couple ebooks on here. I think I have one or two. The teak that's aligned to it, which is very similar to this document, just to keep everyone stay on the same page. And then lastly, we have this rationale for why we chose it. It could be for the fact that it was on New York Times bestseller list, or while there are higher level books, this is the ebook. There's lots of formats, such as the ebook and the video book and the physical book. There's also over here, we have additional notes. It's only in a couple, but all of the diverse books and the reason why they're diverse. So as a whole, pretty easy to navigate. There's 20 resources that are books, physical ebooks. So as a whole, pretty cool. So I got a moment to speak with the teacher, and summer school lasted over the last week or so, and they dove straight into this. The students loved it. They loved the fact that all the resources were in one place. They thought it was really cool that their science teacher and their math and their ELA and social studies teacher were like, go to Symbaloo and go to the go to the Symbaloo space curation project or space unit, and they knew exactly where to go every time. And they loved the fact that all of the content was connecting. They really felt like they could advocate for themselves, and they understood. The teachers, once again, really liked the fact that they could take something from, let's say, math and use it in science, or in math, they already learned something in science, so it really helped. So as a whole, the teachers were really impressed with it and look forward to using it in the fall as students begin to work their way more towards actually using the site in person. Well, I hope I gave a fully encompassing explanation of the site, how we collaborated, planned, the review of the project, and just a whole understanding of how to use curation tools. Thanks.